Rashford finally came with a celebration.
Finally.
One finger to the temple, eyes closed like meditation. It's funny how just last season he was cancelled like Afro Nation.
I want my money back.
Now he's playing with so much drive, will and dedication. What? Rashford finally came with a celebration.
Finally.
One finger to the temple, eyes closed like meditation. It's funny how just last season he was cancelled like Afro Nation.
Give me my money.
Now he's playing with so much drive, will and dedication. If you can't say that you rate him, you must be off your medication. Best just put some respect on his name, baby, but it's not dedication. I said, if you can't say that you rate him, you must be off your medication. Best just put some respect on his name, baby, but it's not dedication. What? Yo, this is the OT99 Banter Room where opinions are shared and smoke gets served. Look, we're back again with another show. It's your boy Firms, and I'm joined today by Edwin and NK, and we are going to talk about Manchester United's third consecutive win after the World Cup break. Look, we've played 3 games: Wolves, Nottingham Forest, and Bournemouth, and we've got 3 wins in 3. Look, Manchester United are on smoke right about now, and Manchester United is taking the step by step, you know, in getting into that conversation, you know, dare I say what I'm trying to say, but you know what I'm trying to say. Step by step, we're edging closer to sit around the table to have the conversation. Look, guys, welcome, man. Welcome to the OT99 Banter Room. How you feeling, Edwin? How you feeling, man?
I'm good. How you feeling?
I'm good, bro. I'm excited, man. I'm gassed from yesterday's victory. And yeah, like, you know what I mean? You saw all of those little records coming out regarding Ten Hag after 25 games and all of these things, how he's performing 70-something% hit rate in terms of wins. Look, I'm excited to see what, you know, Eric Ten Hag is going to do. And I'm optimistic, man. And I haven't been like that in a very long time. NK, how you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling great, man. First of all, Happy New Year, guys, man. I think it's my first show of the new year.
Yes,
Last time I was up and about, man. But yeah, Happy New Year's, man. But look, the team is winning, man, and you can never be unhappy when the team is winning, man. Look, I think that's four wins in a row. We got how many clean sheets too? Yeah, 4 wins in a row. We got. I think that was like about our 4th or 5th clean sheet.
It's beautiful.
In a row too, man. And I think since Arsenal, since we considered against Arsenal, we haven't considered at home yet too, man. So the team is really playing well, and if they're playing well, you can't fault it, man. You can't fault it.
No, you're right. So it's 4 clean sheets in a row. We had 3 Premier League wins and then 1 EFL Cup win against Burnley, where we won 2-0. So we kept a clean sheet there. Man United is keeping clean sheets, and where you have guys like Casemiro and Varane and these men in the in the team, look, you're going to be getting clean sheets, man. The one common denominator, it seems like, it's Casemiro. You know, there was no Martinez. Let me just put that out there before we get in. You know, there's no Martinez. Yeah, there was no Varane, and we kept a clean sheet. So, boy, call it what you want. But guys, look, my overall assessment before we get into the nitty gritty of that game, was Manchester United performed and got the 3 points, not being at their best. Now, I was talking to you, Edwin, offline when watching that game, and we was talking about how Bruno's performing, how he was giving away the ball. It was frustrating. He was doing that throughout the whole game. It felt like maybe he had a spell of he had odd spells where he would do a nice ball, but a lot of the time he was just losing it. Eriksen, here and there, again, I saw a decent spell of him, but he wasn't imposing in the game for me. He didn't have that stand-up performance to me where I'm like, okay, wow. Casemiro obviously he did his thing. He does all right. But for me, I feel like when you're playing against Bournemouth, where you're getting a lot of the ball, we need to be the ones that's dominated and imposing. You know what I mean? Obviously, Donny van de Beek, he got injured, and that's sad to see. But what was your thoughts overall, the assessment of the game, NK, when you're watching that? Did you feel that we gave a good account of ourselves? I do feel like, it's still, a lot more work to be done.
You know what? As I said, right now, I'm kind of at the point where expecting this to give a 90 minutes performance, I'm kind of over that. So I kind of I'm just more concentrating on can they win the games. But one thing about the game that I wasn't happy with, and I think the manager even spoke about it, is our game management, because at 2-0 down, I just felt like it was a time for us to kind of manage the game. But we kind of like made them come back into the game, and then it became like an up and up and down kind of a game when we didn't need to do that. Players was trying to rush play when they didn't need to kind of like do that. We were just literally doing so much energy, playing so aggressively. But I think at 2-0 down, you don't need to do that. But I think that's something that this team needs to kind of like is the next stage of like their learning thing, learn how to manage games. Because I think against Nottingham Forest too, we done the same thing too, where at 2-0 they scored that we considered that a free kick, but then it got ruled out for offside. So at 2-0 down, you just need to learn how to just manage the game, not every time always kind of like going. Because Rashford, for example, you get a ball, just want to be direct. Learn how to sometimes slow the game down and reserve some type of like energy. We cannot always go on the front foot, but overall, look, we won the game. As you said, you can only beat the ones that are in front of you. We won that, but bigger tests are ahead. But I would like them to learn how to manage them, because you can't continue to do that all the time.
And that's the thing. I think like Nottingham Forest and the game that we played against Bournemouth, we weren't at our best. We weren't dominating the game in its entirety like we should be, but we managed to get the 3 points. It was like a BAU performance, and a good sign of champions. Like we saw it with City, we saw it with Liverpool when they weren't at their best. They were still managing to get those 3 points when Liverpool was winning the league, or even when they was chasing down City down to it come down to 1 point. We'll see Liverpool a lot of the time getting that last-ditch goal to clinch them the win. Do you know what I mean? Man United in our heyday back in the days, that is what we used to do under Fergie, where we'll score a lot of late equalizers or match-winning goals. So I can see it with Manchester United in a sense where we're not performing well, but we're still getting the 3 points. It's a really positive sign, and I feel like once Erik ten Hag gets the personnel to fulfill what he needs to do, I feel like it will show in our game. Edwin, what was your thoughts, man?
I think that the intensity was a bit higher. My problem with the last couple of games is that we took too many touches on the ball. We didn't shift the ball quicker. So we looked like we were moving the ball quicker between players. But my problem is still the negativity. They pass backwards too much. They always have to restart from the back instead of just going forward. Because... and it's dangerous because sometimes when we get in trouble, it's because we're playing around in midfield and defence. I'd rather us lose the ball up front. Look, at the end of the day, we got the 3 points, which is important, especially for the progression. We're fourth with the same points as Newcastle with a game in hand, so that's good. But I think we still got a long way to go to actually playing better football and also dominating football. Because although we won, we didn't dominate the game. It's not a 3-0 where we say 3-0 and we totally shut them out. Like they still had little glimpses, which happens in football. But for me, I think that our passing of the ball needs to be a bit more positive going forward. And I think we just need to. I don't know if it's you guys see it, but we don't press as much. Some places we do. We sit off a lot now. Like in the beginning, they were pressing a lot, but now we just kind of like do this, like how they zonal mark in corners. It's like we do that during the pitch. We just stand there and wait for them. So I think we got to press more. So, but overall, 3 points, can't really complain. We're fourth.
Do you feel like he's trying to reserve? You think Erik ten Hag is trying to reserve? Do you think that's a different style, or do you feel like we've just lapsed in sort of intensity of the time? Because is he trying to reserve energy due to the fixtures, or is it just like we're just saying?
Well, I don't know, because it's like we stopped pressing like that for a long time, to be honest. I don't know if it's reserving energy, but look, as I said, I watched Ten Hag's performances at Ajax, and our team is not playing nowhere near his Ajax team was playing. Not that we're like, I'm not comparing them, but in terms of the style, I don't see the pressing, I don't see the flair and attacking, I don't see them like in Ajax. They used to just break down teams, like get to the byline, cross it in, tap ins, like passing. I don't see that in our team, and I don't know if he's trying to. I think he might be playing cautious, because at the same time, he probably sees the areas that he needs to improve on. So he's probably trying to just make sure he's got a job next season. You know what I mean? Before implementing something. But at the end of the day, not even to compare, as we've seen with Arsenal, like if you allow a manager and give him the time to implement his style, the team will get it. Like Arteta had a poor, not like he struggled in the first couple of seasons, but now they play into his rhythm. Look at them now.
Yeah.
And I want the same for us. Like I rather us. Like it's good that we're winning, but I want to see progression in our football and the way we play.
So NK, this one goes to you, because I think you sent me a stat offline about Eriksen and how he's doing with regards to his assists. I think he's one of the top assisters in the whole of like Europe and stuff. And I was thinking about that and then watching how we play. And just like, obviously we don't retain possession. Like we will have like a lot more possession than Bournemouth, for example, whatever. But when we watch ourselves play, it seems it can be a ping pong match. It can be like a basketball game back and forth at times, and we don't really control the game. But then you're seeing guys like Eriksen get high assists, and then Bruno, we just know what he's about in it. His urgency, he does so much that we end up doing a flick that is maybe unnecessary and unusable. Do you feel like, the way I look at it is that, do you feel like we've got the right players? Even though they're getting their assists and doing what they need to do, do you feel like we've got the right players to play the type of football that Ten Hag wants with regards to like possession, do you know what I mean, and maintaining the ball? Do you feel like they can be worked in with the players we've got, or do you feel like we just need to go in and get a whole
I think on the ball, all our midfielders, one thing that they have in common is that they always want to play the ball like quickly. When they get the ball, they just always want to, their first intention is to just play the forward pass. That's like with Casemiro, Eriksen, and Bruno. You know,
transitions are just rapid. It's all about the transition.
Just like rapid. You know, even Casemiro, anytime you see him, he's always trying to kind of like play those kind of like forward balls. Eriksen is very like that. You know, they're very like direct with the way in which they play. Even Bruno too. And I think as a team, sometimes you just need a balance on there. You just need that one guy in there who kind of like more like will control the tempo. They kind of like see how the game is, and then they control it to say, okay, they know when to up the tempo and how to also sometimes just kind of like slow it down, you know. So it just comes down to that. They all just very kind of like similar, like in that type of like way. Yeah. And because of that, I think the manager is struggling to use them and get that kind of like control out of it. Because if you look at the way in which we started the season until now, he's been twerking the midfield a lot of the time. Even recently, what I've seen is that Eriksen and Bruno, they kind of like interchange with the responsibility. At times, you will see Bruno will drop deep to kind of like get on the ball. To at times, to Eriksen is kind of like would do that too, which wasn't something that he was doing at the beginning of the season. So I think he's just trying to find a way to make them work for the meantime, you know, because even if you watch his interview yesterday, he doesn't like the whole up and down type of like thing, you know. He want to win. He want to control a game. He wanted to look after the ball better, and he's been complaining about it since Arsenal. But I just don't feel like he will get that with this type of like midfield that we have just now. Yeah. So it's one thing that he will have to do. But on Eriksen too, look, on the ball, he gave the ball away a lot, and at times it's going to be frustrating too. But off the ball too, I think like off the ball, he's been very awful off the ball, you know. He's one of the weakest link of the ball in terms of like, he doesn't run, you know. And Edwin was talking about the pressing thing too. I think in the midfield, our midfielders, they struggle anytime that we face team that play with the intensity. It doesn't suit them. They normally like when the game is a bit slower down for them. And if you see Eriksen, for example, he's not going to be the guy that, like, when it comes to tackling, he's just never the guy to tackle. And at times too, he let people run past him so easily, you know, and he doesn't have the legs. So it just... It's something that the manager just have to find a way to just like deal with it. And that's one thing that I appreciate Bruno too, because one thing about him is he worked very hard. But even at the end of that game too, he looked gassed out. Like, I think he's been doing too much running, and at times too, he needs to just know at time to when to like run and when to kind of like consume a bit of energy. But it looked like he was very gassed out at the end of the game, man. Very gassed out.
Do you know who else didn't look like they were up to it? Is Martial. Martial looked like he had a very somber performance, and I don't know why, because he didn't obviously go to the World Cup. You know, he didn't. He was rested. I don't know what's changed, but he just looked very somber. Do you know what I mean? But I mean, I don't know if you've got any comments on that or what you think is the issue with that, Edwin. But for me, you're on mute. Edwin, you're on mute. Your sound's gone.
So you know what? When I look at him and I look at the team, I looked at yesterday. We don't play to him. Like, it's not like we play and we're like looking through him. There was a point, right, where I think Casemiro had the ball, right, and And it happened twice where they could play a through ball to him and they went to the wing.
Yeah.
We don't play to him. You know what I mean? So it's just like, as much as he had a poor game, it's not like we're giving him chances.
So you mean in that game in particular against Bournemouth, he just weren't getting the service necessary?
I don't think so. When did you see him have a chance except from the header?
Yeah, but see, I disagree with that. I don't know if Martial injury is affecting him. Something very off about him. Something very off about him.
Because
you know he's been injured for most of the part of the season, and you know he even alluded to one of the interviews that he done during the season about when Oli was there that normally he likes to kind of like play until like he finds his rhythm, you know. So I don't know what about. Even now, he's not running like that, you know. He's not running like I was watching even the Wolves game back, and then there was a counter in which Garnacho kind of like found it, and he kind of like passed the ball to Garnacho, and I was expecting him to make a run into the box, which he didn't do, you know. Against Bournemouth, he was okay, but again, he's missing one thing about him is not even his hold-up play. He's missing a lot of chances. He's missing a lot of sitters, man.
Yeah, and
that's very, very concerning because he had a header, which he should have hit that ball on target, and then he didn't do that too. But I don't know. I think he just. I'm hoping with a little bit of more game time, he will get back into his rhythm again, man. I'm hoping with that, but something looked very off about him, man. But with it, one thing about him too, I always just feel like when he doesn't have competition, he tends to kind of like play like that. And then when you buy a striker to come in to compete with him, then he step up his game, man. I don't like that side about his mentality. I really don't.
Look, Manchester United. I mean, I see as well. I feel like with our players, I am worried that I don't want them to have like that high and then go into a low, especially at the crucial part of the season where we need them most, and then we just can't get over the line. That will hurt. That will hurt because Manchester United, at this current moment in time, are joint points with Newcastle, right? With a game in hand, so we can jump over them, like Edwin said, and. I don't know how many points they're behind Arsenal at the minute. 8, 9? I don't even know what it is.
9 points. 9
points. But the funniest thing is Arsenal's got a tough set of games. Man United's got to play City in our next Premier League game, followed by Arsenal as well. So like this,
20-some. We got Man City next weekend,
14th of Jan, and then the following week Arsenal. Yeah. And it's going to be a crucial sort of next month or so for Manchester United.
Yesterday when you were talking about top 4, is there potential? I said I'm not talking until those 2 games are over. Because when those 2 games are over, we know where we're at in terms of how we're going to be playing. You know what I mean,
bro?
If we get out of that, then it's different.
But you know what? I don't feel like those 2 games would. I don't think that's going to affect me in my thinking with regards to top 4 because it's so early. Like for me, if we lost that or drew,
if we lose both of them, it's going to affect us because then Newcastle will do well, and then you've got Tottenham creeping up. They're winning 2-0 today. You got to be very careful. You know what I mean?
Jeez, in case Uncle just stepped in, you know. Jeez, look, for me, I don't see it like that. I don't see.
You don't think if we lose those 2 games, we're in trouble? Bearing in mind, if Newcastle win their 2 games, and then you've got other players like teams like Tottenham winning their games, we're gonna. If we lose those 2 games and Newcastle and Tottenham win we're out of the top 4.
But that's my point. I don't think Tottenham's got I don't think that they've got the consistency over the season not to be dropping points. Like, yeah, we may drop. Say if we did drop 6 points, I just don't feel like. These teams, Newcastle's a bit of they had their first acid test, I would say. No, actually, it weren't their first acid test. I would say that they had a tough test against Arsenal, where they got through relatively unscathed. A draw, so good result for them. But I'm just like, with Tottenham and stuff like that, I just don't.
Well, because think about it, if we lose those 2 games and Tottenham win those 2 games, we're back in 5th.
It's a long season, bro.
Here is the thing. We got in the top 4. Look, with the big teams, when you play the big teams, you're never sure how the games is gonna go. You either win them or lose them, and we can say we can lose those 2 games. But right now, the thing that United are doing very good is that we are beating the smaller teams, and to me, that's always encouraging. So as long as we can beat those smaller teams, the big games, you forget too is that this season we play like this that you talk about. Arsenal, we beat them. We beat Liverpool too. So when it comes to the big games, we're not really doing bad. I don't see us losing both games. I see us in worst case scenario probably get like a point from one of the games, you know, and we get a point. That means that we're taking points of them too. But I just have this confidence that out of the City Arsenal game, we will get 3 points out of that. But even if we don't do that too, look, we've seen it. When we lost to City, what do? We just went back on a winning run again, you know, and that's they respond very good to defeat. Apart from the opening when we lost back-to-back games, and done that, and now we've won 4 games in a row. So even if we lose to City or even to Arsenal, I'm confident after that they will pick up and then go on another winning run. You know, and your Liverpools and your Chelseas, they're not necessarily playing well. They are struggling. Liverpool are losing. But I think we've done enough to kind of like give us a little bit breathing space between us and Tottenham. You know, us and Tottenham and then the Liverpools too. So it is just what it is. Just be the smaller team. Just be the smaller team, and the big teams just take whatever you can from that. You know. But if we do beat the two of them, then you know what time it is. I don't want to say it, but if we beat those two, you know what time it is. Second half of the season, we're doing a what? I'm not gonna say it.
I don't even know why your audio is charging. I think you're freezing on purpose, brother. I think this.
Before we go, we need to talk about 2 players. I want to talk about Bruno and Maguire. Like Maguire, in the first couple of minutes, he brought the ball down with a beautiful touch. I'm like, oh my days, Bruno is Maguire gonna have a good game? No.
He kicked it out,
He kicked it out. No, he passed the ball wild to Shaw. Then he kicked it out for a corner. I was like, nah, back to reality.
But I was just like, it started.
And then Bruno, for me, Bruno's like, do you know what? Yeah, I don't even go into him, but I just think he's playing very bad right now. Like he sees too much of the ball to be not productive with it. Like he's not getting assists. He's not getting, and he requests the ball so much. And what annoys me about him, he starts moaning when people do stuff wrong. I'm like, bro, you've been doing stuff wrong the whole game.
I ain't gonna lie to you, Edwin. I've accepted Bruno for who he is, bruv. I've accepted Bruno for who he is, bruv.
Yeah,
you see Bruno? You see how
friends were talking to like you will convert. He will convert you to like Bruno. That's what he said last week.
But you know what?
I've
been saying this about Bruno since last year, and it's not even trying to get onto him. It's just that, like, when you look at him and then you look at how other number 10s are playing, it's like, oh look, AK dropped out, boy.
Bro, he's internet we're interneting, bro. I'm telling you, bro.
We talk about Bruno, he's like, nah, he ain't talking about my boy.
Man's internet, we're interneting.
But do you get what I'm saying in terms of, like, I just expect more from him. For someone that sees the ball so much, I'm expecting goals or assists from him. You know what I mean?
I think with Bruno, he just needs to calm down. It's like someone that is like, is too anxious, right? And because he's trying to play the ball with such urgency, he doesn't almost have time to think it through. There's times where we can control the ball and lay it off that right path. He doesn't, because he's just trying to do that quick flick.
Stop doing that. He needs to stop doing that outside of the foot stuff. Like just every time. Like one time all he had to play was a simple cross. He's doing it outside of his foot. I'm like, bro.
But this is the thing, because with Bruno, he's a high risk, high reward type of player. You saw again, he got himself an assist.
Let's stop here. When you say high reward, what high reward have you seen in that, like, recently?
He got an assist yesterday.
Don't tell me that assist. That was a simple pass.
Bam. The thing is, when Bruno made that mad pass, was it, who did he pass that mad ball? I phoned you. I was just like, was it in Bournemouth? Good. And then Rashford, I think the defender made that last ditch sort of tackle, got it out the way.
And what did I say to you on the phone? Did the ball reach the player?
No, but like it was because of the good defending. You remember when we looked at Odegaard's pass here? When we looked at Odegaard's pass that he put in, everyone was like, "Oh wow!" I said to you straight away that Bruno does this. He does a pass like that every game or every. I'm telling you, bro.
And does it reach the player?
It reaches the player. It's what they do with it. Like he would do. Like I swear to you, I'm not lying. Say Bruno. I
feel like you've been watching the game in some next simulation mode. Like,
bro, I tell you, this guy, bro, this guy is gonna get banned. 1-1. He's on yellow card right now. NK, you're on a yellow card, bruv. Yellow card, bruv. I don't know what type of generator that you're using where you are, bruv. You know, look at him. What's power in your broadband, NK?
I'm in some part of Georgia, man. It's very bad out here. But look, on the
so what do you think about? Okay, what do you think about Maguire and Bruno?
With Maguire, with Maguire, I think that one thing I don't like is when he come into the team, because with Martinez and Varane, they defend very aggressively. You know, where they will follow the centre backs and then go be just there. Maguire cannot do that because of his lack of pace. You know, he doesn't do that. And then yesterday, if you watch it through, I think Lindelof and Maguire, they were not very aggressive at all. They allowed the centre forward to just go there and they were not aggressive to them. So that's just like that. With Bruno, I think he's just one of those players where when you play and you restrict how he plays, he's always going to struggle, you know? And that's what Tim Hart is doing. He's just one of those guys where you have to give him freedom. The manager have tried him in different kind of like positions. As you can see, first half of the season, he didn't want him dropping deep. Now he allowed him to drop kind of like deep. I don't know, but I feel like the manager is giving him every single chance that he needs to give him. But this season, for example, his hard work, the team need his hard work. You know, him tracking back and everything, they need his hard work. But going forward, I struggle to see if this manager get a chance to bring in better midfielders. I struggle to see how he utilized Bruno, man, how he utilized him, because anytime that he always seems to kind of like bring a different kind of a player inside, he always seems to shift him to the wings. You know, yesterday Donny started shifting to the wing anytime he makes a substitution.
But that's because Bruno's adaptable, so he plays on the wing for his country at times on the right. Like that's because
but
he's
you could
adaptable.
say that too, but you could. I think
the most important thing is Donny van de Beek's not as adaptable. Like the guys that has been brought in are not as adaptable. Like often when you see Scott McTominay and Bruno shift to the right, it's because someone like Fred, Scott McTominay, or Donny, whoever's come on, and them man can't play any other positions other than where they're playing, right? And I feel like the most important thing that you need to be thinking about is Bruno's still being kept on the pitch by Eric Ten Hag to play.
What happens if the manager go buy another midfielder? Let's say he bring in a Frankie de Jong. What happens then?
If he brings in a Frankie de Jong, right, then it will probably be de Jong, Bruno, and Casemiro. I feel like it'll be Eriksen that will be getting rotated. I don't think it'll be Bruno. I mean, I just feel like guys.
Let's be honest, yeah. Eriksen in Bruno's position, yeah, will be so much more effective. He'll have more assists and more goals.
I don't know. I just feel like the off the ball work rate that Bruno brings, yeah, it's evident when he weren't playing for Manchester United and when he weren't playing in the team. I can't remember where it was. We didn't have no Fred, we didn't have no energy, we didn't have Bruno that game, and everyone was just like, oh snap, like this is like what he does off the ball is what everyone misses. Like, yeah, they see him do wild, reckless passing, rush stuff, losing the ball, but his energy to get up and down that pitch here off the ball is the balance that Manchester United
But then you talk about the energy and everything, but Fred had energy, but Fred is not in there, you know. And ultimately, it comes down to who the manager brought in, you know. And the manager, Eriksen is the manager's player, and Bruno is not.
Yeah.
So when you look at it that way.
I mean, the thing is, right, is Fred definitely has got energy. And we saw it when he's come on. Like we've got, was it the Nottingham Forest game? Or was it the Wolves game? One of the games they came on off the bench here. He made a good difference. Him and maybe he came off the bench as well, Garnacho or whatever, or Rash. Maybe it was Rash and then he went on to score as well. So I think it was Rash and Fred. But like when I look at Fred, obviously he's got deficiencies, right? His ability to like play a key pass consistently is not always there. Losing possession of the ball isn't there. And Bruno does that as well. He loses the possession of the ball, gives it away easily. But what Bruno does is he's able to find that match-winning killer pass. Fred doesn't do that. So if he's having a bad performance, it's not enough to say Eric Ten Hag needs to play him each and every time. So that's what I think. And then you've got another guy with energy, maybe not as mobile, but you've got Scott McTominay there if you want with height. So I don't know. I don't think
Fred's giving enough. Just face it. You're not gonna change us, man. His game,
bro. I promise you.
His game, so they not right into it.
Bro, the grass ain't greener yet. With Bruno Fernandes, even with his deficiencies, I say it, and you saw him in the World Cup doing his thing. You see him in the World Cup doing his thing. Even with his deficiencies, I know what we've got. Like, even like, can you imagine? We almost lost Rashford for free. Man United fans won it, not even for free necessarily, but we could have lost him for free if he wasn't really doing too well this season. PSG could have walked in and took him, started negotiating if we didn't decide to trigger the contract or whatever for the extension. You've got us potentially selling him to PSG for, I don't even know what the price was tooted around then, 50, 60 million last year. It's just like, look, we don't appreciate our players. And my thing is this, like, you've got a manager stepped in, he's been here for like half a season, and we're seeing improvements in a lot of the team members. For me, I feel like we're our own players, the harshest critics. And I feel like there's a lot of improvement still to go. Like, can any of you, Edwin, you're talking about, you're on mute.
No, so they were never ever gonna let Rashford go for free. They were always gonna activate the 1 year at a minimum, just so they can negotiate during that year. Or
but we would have got peanuts.
Or they would have just sold him that year.
Man United's never good at claiming money for, good money for a lot of their players. It's either they walk out for free or get peanuts. But we almost let this guy go. My thing is this, like, when I look at Erik ten Hag and I look at what he's doing with our players now, there's not many players that has digressed, you would say. There's players that has either maintained what they were doing or improved. Do you know what I mean? And a lot of the players have actually even improved because there's actually a system and a structure there. So maybe they're not like world-class individual ability, but because they're playing and following Erik ten Hag's system to the best of their ability, it's improved the overall team performance. And it makes them look good. And you know what, Bruno, like I said, bro, Bruno, your eyes are open. Look, your eyes are open seeing about Bruno, bro. Like, the grass ain't greener, bro. The grass ain't green. Did you see that stat about Arsene Wenger, where he managed to get Arsenal back Champions League sometimes?
Look,
here's string budget, and you're just like,
here's
bro.
the thing. In the World Cup, when Portugal was playing Morocco and Portugal needed a goal so bad, Bruno was playing right back, so maybe he can play right back, cover for the love.
Oh, please! That's what you were confused with, is Bruno's work ethic to get up and down the pitch to defend for his team. Do you remember when Gerrard was doing that in a Champions League final?
Yeah, but I do not want Bruno.
We need a guy that can do both.
Huh?
No, but let's be real though. We need a guy that can do both. For an attacking midfielder, we cannot be praising an attacking midfielder for work rate. Your attacking midfielders are there to
I'm doing it for both. I'm doing it for both.
We appreciate all of that, but but then you're doing it for both. But at the same time too, as I said to you yesterday, them kind of like game management like that. That's what you normally like need. I don't care about him losing the ball. I care about normally knowing when the situation is and managing the game from there. At 2-0 down. Why are you going to be trying those type of like ball for? Learn how to manage games. That's all it is. Look, he's an attacking player. He's always going to lose the ball, but you just need to just know how to control tempos and how to control situations on the field in certain and this is where sometimes the frustration comes with him. And remember yesterday, 2-0 up. Don't put that ball. Keep it a bit kind of like simple. Look after the ball. Be the calmest one on the pitch. Make the thing kind of like to just say, hey guys, we're 2-0 up. We don't need to just do that. Let's look after the ball. Let's pass it around a bit, and then kind of like put in the second kind of like punch in there. So I think that is that kind of like bit that I want to see from him.
I mean, you're right. I can't disagree, and I think Erik ten Hag. This is why it was after the young style profile, isn't it? Because that type of guy is a guy that can carry the ball from the defense, maybe dictate play a bit more, make more sort of informed decisions when he's passing. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like with Bruno, he's just not that type of player. I don't really know what Bruno is. I can't really compare him to De Bruyne because they're different types. Like they're just different types of players. Bruno, like I was saying before, is just, he's a hybrid mismatch of all sorts. But look, I'm happy because with Manchester United, right, we ain't nowhere. I say if you was to say how far we in our whole sort of journey, our whole rebuild, you wouldn't say we're even 50%, would you? Do you know what I mean? And Man United, we're talking about, look, if we face City and we face Arsenal, and we've beaten Arsenal, the most informed team in the league, we drew with Newcastle, which, you know, Arsenal just drew with, you know what I mean? One of the most informed teams in the league still. And at the same time, look, Manchester United, we're talking about if we get points off Manchester City and Arsenal, we're potentially in a, dare I say what, you know what I mean? And I'm just saying, look, this is someone that's been in there for 6 months. And for me, it's just that Annie ain't got his tools. So for me, I understand the process and I understand where we are with it. So when I'm like hearing all these things, I almost smile through it, because I'm just like, look, if we're talking like this now, what are we going to be like after a year?
Yeah, you know what? The manager, he's doing an amazing job. And I always say, like, the best managers there, even when they don't have all the tools at their disposal, they still manage to find a way to get the best out of what they have. And that's exactly what this manager is doing. You know, he doesn't have most of the players to play the style of football that he want to do, and yet he's winning. He's getting clean sheets, and to me, that showed me confidence. I've been a big believer of him. I've kind of like I've been kind of like wild with some of the stuff that I've said about him in the past. I'm not gonna lie, but when he does stuff like this, it just make me just be more appreciative about stuff like that.
Of course. Look, I can't believe I've gone this far into this without talking about the potential goal of the month. Certainly goal of the month for Manchester United, you know, or at least a contender, which is Luke Shaw's goal. Like, Luke Shaw's goal, man, it started with him and it ended with him, man. He started all the way in his own half, deep in his own half, in that left back position. You know what I mean? And he carried that ball. Who did he do a layoff with again? Luke Shaw. So he fed it to, I don't even know who it was, a 1-2. Do you remember who that was?
I think it was Rashford.
Was it Rashford? At a 1-2 of Rashford, he took it in his stride. You know what I mean? Carried the ball.
I think it was Rashford.
And then Bruno fed him last or something.
Garnacho.
No, he gave it to Bruno. Bruno passed it to Garnacho.
Garnacho, and then Garnacho gave it back to Shaw, man. But look, I don't really like Luke Shaw, so I'm not gonna say it's a goal of the month. But it was a good goal. It was a good goal. I'm not gonna lie. But he needs to be doing that more often.
But my thing is, look, my thing is we had that sort of team go against. Was it Nottingham Forest as well? Where I was looking at that. Wow, like we're seeing more often team goals, and it's not every 5 games or anything like that. Like, these are coming in short spells now consecutively. So what I'm seeing from Erik ten Hag is this guy's gone again. He's a red card, bro. He has to get a red card. Yeah, what I'm seeing is him implementing a style of play that, you know, gets the team playing ball, man. Gets the team playing ball.
But then that type of goal shows the levels that we can still reach, which is a positive on the other side, isn't it? If we can only get better, but what the team is showing is a lack of depth overall, though.
Facts.
Quality depth.
Definitely, I think that's a big issue. When I was looking at the bench against Bournemouth, right, when Donny van der Beek got injured, I was like, okay, cool. And it's unfortunate because he was doing okay. It was a good opportunity for him, especially as we got EFL and FA Cup coming up, where he probably would have got more minutes. It's so sad and it's poor timing that he got injured. But then I was looking at the bench thinking, you know what, yeah, all we've got on the bench, where it will typically be Donny there on the bench as well, all we really had was Garnacho. And he came on, and you can see it made a big difference when he came on. In my opinion, I felt like we had a lot more balance in the first half. Man United wasn't performing too well, in my opinion, and I just felt like the only outlet that we had was Marcus Rashford, and to carry the ball, progress it forward. And then when Garnacho came on, we saw a bit of a balance on the wings, and I felt like I saw Garnacho running at defenders with the ball. I saw Rashford also doing the same. And then I just feel like we looked a lot more dangerous in transition. Some others may not agree with that, but I just thought, from what I saw, yeah. Like, there's times where I saw Eriksen try to sprint with the ball down the wing. The pace was so dead, like we weren't going anywhere. And I just feel like I used to see Manchester United play like that when we played Pogba on the left. And we're definitely sacrificing that pace for creativity and stuff like that. And we just didn't look as potent as we do, you know what I mean, with these two fast wingers. But look, Luke Shaw, man, has to get a big shout out for that goal, man. And I feel like he's keeping. Look, Malacia, he's given like we all thought Malacia was gonna come and solidify that left back position. Look, Luke Shaw's like saying, you know what, I'm not having it. I'm not having you take my spot. And he's doing.
Malacia doesn't show enough attacking intent when he's on the ball.
He doesn't, right? He's a good defender.
That's a problem.
Do you play him? Do you play him against City then, or do you go with Luke Shaw? Because that's interesting. You got an attacking team like City. Do you go with Malacia? Do you play them both? Do you know what I mean? Like, do you play Shaw centre back? Like, what do you do? Who do you play?
I think you have to play Shaw. I think you have to play Shaw.
Yeah. Shaw's not playing centre back
right now. Where they are both. Go on, Edu.
No. I was disagreeing with you. I said Shaw's not going to play centre back, especially you got Varane and Thingy on the bench. They're probably resting them for those big games.
You think Martinez is going to start? Yeah,
against one of them two. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Martinez will get some game time in the FA Cup, and then
this guy is fossil fuel internet. Like this guy, you know, scraping the last bit of coal, you know, to try and power up that thing. Fossil fuel. Look at him. I don't even know if he's trying to, like, you know, the memes. He just looks like a meme. I don't even know right now. Yeah.
Hey, AK, forever send it for you, bro.
Lord, this shows you, man. No matter where we are in the world, man, we do this, man. No connection, nothing. We're still here doing OT.
AK's digging for that. You know that the coal in his what do you call it? The fireplace.
I'm defending NK, man. Like you got to shout him out. He's turned up, bro. He didn't have to.
You get a yellow card.
Man,
a solid
duty, man.
But you're one card away from like a free match ban with this internet.
Look, I promise next time I'll be good, man. Forgive me for today, man. Forgive me for today.
Nah, but I think NK made a good point. I think he's going to use the FA Cup game to give Thingy some minutes, Martinez.
Yeah,
I don't think he'll sacrifice right now.
Also, right now, Shaw, in terms of like quality, Shaw is ahead of Malacia in terms of like quality too. Yeah. He also had the advantage where he also play used to the Premiership moment, but it's just about can Malacia end up reaching his potential. You know, he's still Malacia is 23, so he's quite kind of like old. So you have to give him a year to see whether he can actually compete with Shaw for that place. But with Shaw, it's always been his mentality. That's always been his problem. The quality is there, but it's always been his mentality when he's been overweight and can't go up and down the field. Like, you know, he's not taking stuff seriously. So let's just see if he can just do that. I still don't even know if he's just playing because of that, because he need a new contract or not, man. But
yeah,
I've seen a bit of change in his mentality. The way he was speaking last week. So hopefully, if them two are kind of like pushing each other, hopefully that's a good headache for the manager to choose, you know. But I'm still very skeptical after how he will perform after he get a new contract. That's one thing I'm just worried about.
I think Eric Ten Hag is going to keep them in a position where they're always on their toes, man. Have you noticed that Eric Ten Hag is never congratulating these guys too much? Like, whenever he congratulates them, he's quickly saying, you know what, like, we can't get complacent, like, we can't get relaxed. And I used to listen to Klopp and listen to Pep when they'll be like clearing the table, when they'll be smashing teams, and they're always like talking as if to say like they're like fighting relegation. And in my mind, I'm just like, you know what, that's the mentality that our manager needs to have, because when you have that mentality, our players are never going to rest on their laurels going out to drink champagne when you've just won a game, when they should be back in training.
What does he always say? He said good is not good enough.
Exactly.
That's what he always says. He said good is not good enough, man. And that's how this football club is always going to be. Man, if it was Oli would be there smiling, man. Oli would be there smiling, thinking that we are
slapping high five. I'm telling you, that one of the earlier quotes here that I saw from Eric Ten Hag when he was coming to the team, yeah. Let me see if I can quickly read it out. So what he said, yeah, was let me see if I can find it. Yeah, he said, yeah, I admire them both. So in respect to Manchester City and Liverpool, yeah, he said they both play fantastic football, but you will always see an era come to an end. I've already met big coaches and big teams in the Premier League, and I know how to deal with that. But it's clear the Premier League is the biggest league in the world, I think, and I'm looking forward to battling with them. He also said, yeah, So he was asked about like if he felt that he can sort of push aside their dominance, City and Liverpool's, yeah. And he said before they leave. So he said, he was asked that, do you reckon you can end their dominance in the Premier League before that they move on? He said, of course. He said, yes, I think so. I can do it. So my man is like a guy that's coming very determined. You can see how he's getting in them points. And you can see that even when he won the league, he ran back to Manchester United to start that work when he first joined us.
Since he said that, Liverpool ain't been the same since that.
They ain't been the same, bro.
They ain't been the same, man. So that's one down.
And you know what it is?
City's coming.
Look, he's managing to get points, yeah, rotating the team. Now he managed to get these 3 points rotating the team, and which is a big W for us. But also, I think the key thing is that Man United's on this run, right? 14, 15 games, whatever it is now. And maybe one loss or something in the Premier League, or the 1 or 2 in like a certain period of time, not the first 3.
Yeah.
My thing is, it's just like Erik ten Hag's doing that with a philosophy that he's trying to implement, that we can clearly see, not like the run that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did, where it was unbeaten away from home, but it was based off all sorts of crazy football. It was based off heroics from an individual player, where it was based off counter-attacking football. Like Erik ten Hag's doing this with a philosophy that you can build on. Do you know what I mean? With a philosophy that is progressive for us as a team, with clear visions and ideas. And you hear when the players speak about him, it's not like how they spoke about Oli. It's not like how they spoke about even, Mourinho and these man. Like last time I heard them speak about that, it was maybe Louis van Gaal when they were excited, about a freshness. It was when Louis van Gaal, and that was when they just fresh from Oli. You know what I mean?
I always say this. Yeah, I always say this. Like the club, and just not just on the footballing side, the club as a whole needed like a leader. Someone to come and just take control there and just stand that. I think that's what we were lacking. So in the summertime, when we were linked to guys like your Poch and stuff like that, like it wasn't that they couldn't come into and
Edwin,
do the job. It's just that the football club.
But you should anyway pause. When you froze, the way you froze, you're muted.
Oh, mate, the froze make you look mad crazy.
That mad
am I good now?
You look like he's ready to say
No, but I'm just saying, in the summertime, that's why when we were linked to guys like Poch and stuff, it wasn't that they couldn't do a good job. It was just more that I feel like the club needed a leader, structure, someone to come and just take control of the whole football club, and I feel like that's what Ten Hag was like, he was like that, and I feel like the club needed someone like that, and since he came in too, you can tell that he's just very hands-on in a lot of the things, both on the pitch and off the pitch, So I think we needed someone like that, someone that can put not just the players too, but some of the people upstairs too, to kind of like
that fossil fuel burn out, bro. Edwin, what's your man of the match? Man of the match. NK, we're gonna go on to man of the match. Edwin, who's your man of the match?
My man of the match.
Just say Maguire and be free.
Edwin would never give it to Maguire, even though you can see it.
Bro, I never, ever. Even if he scores a hat trick, bro, and does 5. You know what? Maybe I'll give it to Shaw.
That's agenda, You got some mad agenda, man.
Maybe I'll give it to Shaw. He put a good performance in, scored a goal. My honourable mentions is De Gea. He made some great saves. And Wan-Bissaka, man. Like I'm glad to see. I'm happy. I'm seeing Wan-Bissaka given a chance, and he's actually playing much better than. He's more direct in his play. He's like passing the ball and he's running on. Like he's looking to get in those areas. And
do you know what I noticed about Wan-Bissaka? With Aaron Wan-Bissaka, he's playing more intentional. He's playing to support the flow of play rather than playing and panicking, like trying to play himself out of a press and panicking and just trying to pass it to someone. He's almost like thinking one step ahead now. So he'll be doing like one-touch passes at times where he's trying to like requesting a ball. I seen one time where he was pointing to the ground saying, I want it here, like pass it there. And I don't think Bruno laid it off to him at that point. So I think he found another option. But I think Wan-Bissaka is really, it's taking his time to think, concentrate. What am I going to do when I receive this ball? Looking around, try to support the play. And I think that's only going to do him good, man. It'll at least get him another 6 months at Man U.
Casemiro had a good performance again in midfield. He scored the first goal. So, you know what I mean? So look, you know what?
Edwin knows. Top 3, brother. I keep saying, man, Cass top 3, brother.
But the thing is, what I told Fermi, we need to get in a position where someone like Casemiro can't be like our best player on the pitch. Like, we've got too much attacking players for not someone else to step up. But look,
but Edwin, it moved from.
I'll give it to Shaw. My G.
Look, it went from David De Gea. Now he only made like 2 saves in the game, bruv. This is how goalkeepers should be used, bruv, when you're trying to be competing for the titles. 2 saves, be active when you're called upon, and that's it. We don't want to see you again. And that's what David De Gea done. And now it's moved from him being man of the match to Casemiro being man of the match. Soon, when we keep this evolution up, it's going to move from Casemiro being man of the match to our forwards being man of the match. You know what I mean? So watch this space, bro. Look, for me, my man of the match is Luke Shaw. I feel like it's been building up for a while now. He's been 2 decent performances in centre back, you know what I mean, keeping those clean sheets. He went back to left back again and was involved in, like I said, one of the potential contenders for goal of the month. And for me, I feel like that deserves a lot of praise. And for me, I feel like, you know, he rightly so got man of the match in the game, and I feel like for me, he's man of the match. Obviously, honourable mentions is, like you said, Wan-Bissaka. What do you call it? Who else was honourable mention? Rashford, obviously. Honorable mention. To be honest, like Maguire, like he wasn't. I ain't gonna lie, he wasn't too bad. Yeah, he put a foot wrong earlier, but I think he settled into the game quite well. So I'll give him a shout out as well. I mean, no agendas here. I think he did okay. But yeah, who's your man of the match, Inke?
Sure, and I got no explanation for that. That's all I'm saying. Just sure. I can't have anything to praise him, so I just say sure, man.
Not Casemiro.
My G.
Yeah, Casemiro got to go. Casemiro got to go, man. But to be honest with you,
NK knows deep down. He knows.
There was no stand-up performance from that game. There was just no stand-up performance from that game. It was just one of those, like, it's a game that. It's not a classic. I will never go and watch that game back again, you know. So it was just one of those kind of a game. There wasn't like no stand-up performance, and Shaw literally just get man of the match because of the move that he made from the goal. Apart from that, the whole night he just didn't really do nothing special. Most of the players didn't really do nothing special. Yeah, he just didn't need to. The one that scored the goal, they just scored the goal. Rashford, apart from the goal that he scored, didn't really do nothing. Casemiro scored the goal. It wasn't like one of the like his best game, but he just done the job when he just needed to be. The gear quarter point just done it. But I don't know. Overall on the pitch, it was just like a very flat performance from the team. But we got a job done with a clean sheet, and you can't ask for more. You know, that's all it was.
Guys, thank you again, once again, OT99, for giving your opinions, your views. Guys, comment in the section. Let us know what you think. It was a longer than usual video recently because, you know, like I say, guys, fossil fuel broadband was delaying the whole thing. But guys, leave a comment, comment, subscribe, share, man. Let us know what you think and what your predictions are going to be against what are for Arsenal and for City, man. City being first up. Let us know. Until then, peace.